And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we're doing an update around the Washington Commanders, mainly starting first with the injury update around Marshawn Lattimore, and then talking about the offense of the Washington Commanders. And, do the Commanders really need to make a change in offense? And so let's start with Marshawn Lattimore. And so he is going to be out again this week against the Dallas Cowboys. And so my thoughts here is that the Washington Commanders should not necessarily need Marshawn Lattimore this week. Look, the Dallas Cowboys have struggled offensively. They don't really have a running game. They have several of their pieces on the offensive line that are going to be out, which suggests that this Washington Commanders defense that has been heating up should be able to get home against Cooper Rush and really make it difficult for him to really get the football down the field. And I think even with Trey Lance scheduled to have some snaps in this game, I'd expect for the Washington Commanders, if they do what they're supposed to do, they should be able to really bring a whole bunch of pressure out there to Trey Lance and Cooper Rush. And it doesn't matter if they try to escape. I feel like, just because they're so one dimensional, the Washington Commanders are going to have the advantage. And so, with that being said, I don't think you necessarily need Marshawn Lattimore back there. And I think that this is something that you're probably going to see Mike Sanders still. He's probably going to have to step up a little bit more when it comes to guarding CeeDee Lamb. And then also, too, you're going to need some coverage, obviously, from St. Juste as well. But I think that both of these corners should be able to take care of business against this depleted Dallas Cowboys offense. And so, speaking of the depleted offensive Cowboys, look, they don't have much of a running game. And so, with that one dimensional style that you have to worry about, I feel like, yes, the Washington Commanders are going to be fine too as far as stopping the run. And that's something that the Washington Commanders have really struggled with, which is stopping the run. If you go back and you look at really what this team gave up to Saquon Barkley last week, I think that this bodes well for the Washington Commanders as far as stopping the run, because the Dallas Cowboys really haven't been able to find a good running back. And so that I think is in favor of the Washington Commanders here. And so as we move forward, I wanted to look at just this notion around the Washington Commanders as of late. Been looking at some articles and also too Locked On Washington Commanders, and just talking about Terry McLaurin and talking about how it might be predictable where Terry McLaurin is going to be and the type of routes that he is going to run. And really, should the Washington Commanders be looking to change up their offense? And so it reminds me of what was talked about, I think, going into that Bengals game when I think one of their corners was asked about the Washington Commanders offense and him saying that, it was pretty much a college style type of offense. And so, look, I think that the offense initially was an offense where, yes, you probably made it simple for Jaden Daniels being a rookie quarterback. And then as he got acclimated, to the system, I think you see that this offense has become a little bit more complex. And so, the thing about our offense is I think it's predicated on running the football because when you look at the Commanders and their success this year, it has been behind running the football. And I love that because I think that that's old school football. I think that you run the football first and then you're able to set up the play action. I think that you get, a lot of teams to come up in the box and things like that. And you're able to just get more creative, especially when you have a dynamic quarterback like Jaden Daniels. You have a lot of run pass options that you can do as well. And so, look, I think it starts there. And with Terry McLaurin, I don't think that it's necessarily that you have to change up the offense. I do think that you need to move him around a little bit more. He can't be just split out left all the time. Yes, you need to split him out right. Yes, you need to even line him up in the slot. I think that you just continue to move him. And with this offense, the thing that I'm more concerned about down the stretch for this offense is that the other playmakers are going to have to step up. I talked about this in the last show and talking about should the Washington Commanders make a free agent splash right now and going out there and getting a player that can help them in the wide receiver game. And I'm talking about a player like Michael Thompson, who used to play for, or Michael Thomas, excuse me, they used to play for the Saints. I'm talking about players like that maybe can come in and maybe help Terry McLaurin down the stretch here. Because not that I don't believe in Noah Brown and not that I don't believe in Zacchaeus, because both of those players are veteran players, but there's always that question around the Washington Commanders about getting a legit number two. And we went all in on the defense. And I understand that because I think that, you do need to score points, but defense is really what wins championships. It's really what wins rounds. And so you need to be able to keep teams in front of you. And yes, we've done a great job as far as getting sacks. And then we've done a great job too, as far as not giving up such big of a plays out there. And so, you wanted to go ahead and make sure that you add that impact to the defensive end. And I think the offense can still figure itself out because when the game does slow down, you need to be able to run the football first. And that's good that the Washington Commanders have established that identity. In fact, I was looking at Locked On Commanders, and one of the stats that David Harrison brings up is that, look, the Washington Commanders are 1-4 when they don't win the time of possession. And how do you win the time of possession? Well, that means that you're running the football. That means that you're racking up a lot of first downs. And it also means that as Cliff Kingsbury is going out there, his offensive schemes, not only is he running the football, but he's throwing a lot of screen passes at you. He's allowing Austin Eckler to get into open space. He's been doing a good enough job getting Zach Ertz active as of late. And I think that helps, definitely the Washington Commanders attack, because now you're talking about going in the middle of the field and you're getting these rack catches from him. And I think that those are like body blows to a defense. I think that as you're continuing to gash a team with that mid-range pass attack, that certainly opens it up for you down the field. And so the Washington Commanders are trending in the right direction. I'm not sure that you necessarily need to change up a whole bunch of things. I think that if you change things up too much, then I think that maybe you can get yourself off schedule, you can get yourself off rhythm, and we don't need that going into this game especially. I think that the Washington Commanders need to still execute, and this is something that, maybe Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, they work on those things as, just the pressure of the season gets more as you get a little bit closer to the post game, as you get a little bit closer to that divisional title. Then I think that that's where you start to look and say, okay, what are we going to do in these situations to get a little bit better? And so that's just my thoughts. I don't think the Washington Commanders need to make a major shakeup, but I do think that they should start to make some subtle changes that eventually turn out to be good for the bigger picture here. So let me know in the comments what you think about the Washington Commanders and the recent offensive struggles, I should say, with, just kind of being a bit more predictable as of late. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts. Once again, this is Washington Commanders Insider. I'll see you on the next one. All right, peace.